What is up, my fellow golf ball addicts? I am super excited about this. We are going to dive into a video that came out from Today's Golfer. Basically, it was a robotic test that they did but with a bunch of different golf balls, direct to consumer, tour line, AAA, and they got some really awesome results. And I want to talk about similarities between the findings I've gotten, what they've gotten. Let's dive in. All right, so during my live the other day, you guys were commenting and letting me know about this study that had been done, or this video, experiment, whatever you want to call it, and you guys came in clutch. I woke up this morning and finally had time to look at it, and I was just blown away at the data. It's awesome stuff. I spent all morning transferring it to spreadsheets and getting it all, ready to go, and I'm super excited. I can now filter the data and stuff. I also took their data from 23 as well. So it's awesome stuff. And again, if you don't know this, what Today's Golfer did was they essentially did a robotic test pushing the limits of golf balls. They had some direct to consumers on there. They had a lot of, tour line golf balls. And they actually do something quite differently than I do, right? So they review golf balls with this robot, which is very important. It's much needed in the realm of golf ball reviews. It's something I don't have access to. I don't have the ability to hook up a robot and just every time hit exactly the center in the face with the exact same swing, attack angle, swing path, the whole thing. It's consistent, and it's going to let you know which golf ball truly is going to be the best under those circumstances. And you have to have that. You have to know which golf ball is the best in term A. But term B is the human element, which is what we do here at Golf Ball Addict. And the human element is really important because there's forgiveness involved. Every golf ball has forgiveness. A lot of people are not aware of forgiveness. It's something that I still get questions on all the time, but the reality is it's there. And my longtime subscribers know it's there because now that I've had them looking for it, they see it. And they're like, yeah, absolutely. You can take golf ball A, let's say it's a firmer tour golf ball, and you hit it pure. You might hit it 150 with a 7-iron, which is awesome, Let's say ball B is a softer golf ball. You hit it 147 with a 7-iron. Lost 3 yards. That's rough, right? But now you mishit ball A, the tour ball, and now you get 130 yards. You've lost 20 yards because it's firmer. You hit it a little off the toe. But golf ball B being softer, let's say you're at 140. Well, that's a big difference. And so now the human element is if I take 10 to 20 shots, all being not perfect, maybe a couple pure strikes in there, but all different levels of how they were struck in, different angles, different swing paths, the human element in there. And then you realize that, oh, well, maybe the soft golf ball actually is on the same level as the tour ball because, yes, technically the tour ball you can squeeze a little more out of, but only if you're just an amazing, pure ball striker, just one of the best top 5 in the world. I don't think that's the case for most average consumers, which is what my channel is geared at. Now, this is a transition into our number 10 as far as my 10 takeaways I got from this. That's the reason for this long rant. But my 10th best observation, of course, is when this is mentioned in the article. The writer says that X models are just better. He says he doesn't understand why nobody would play an X golf ball because the X model golf balls are firmer and they go more distance. And that's right, they do. They absolutely do, if they're pured. If they're pured every single time. If you're a golfer and you're like, you know what, I hit the center of the face every single time. I remember one time in 1997, I mishit it off the toe a little bit. Well then yes, firm golf balls are amazing for you because you're going to always get the max distance, the max spin, the max accuracy, the max everything, and that's awesome. But if you're an average Joe like the rest of us, or like me, 4 or 5 out of 10 might only be really good strikes. Maybe 1 is pured, and then the rest of them are okay, and you'll have a couple shanks or a couple, off the toe that are egregious. But, most people just do not strike the iron that well, and that's, again, where that human element comes in. And so, number 10, X models being better, it's not just this gentleman either. This is something I've been fighting for years, but a lot of tour pros and pro shop guys and golf club fitters will say, oh, you want to play a firmer golf ball. Yeah, if you're only concerned with driver distance. That's really the only reason. If you're just a guy that's like, hey, I'd rather have the extra yard. Me and my buddies play every weekend and we do longest drive, we do $20 for longest drive, then yes. But if you're concerned about anything else in your game whatsoever, whether it be, forgiveness being the big one, but consistency, accuracy, maybe instead of being pin high, maybe now you're at the front of the green opposed to a firmer golf ball, you're going to be pitching in. I talk about it all the time on the channel here. Forgiveness is the difference between your ball landing on the front of the green and I have a 20-foot putt, and okay, now I'm 30 yards off pitching into the green, and that's where strokes really start to add up. So it's a big deal. I disagree with the X model theory just because, yes, if you're just looking for pure distance and you're a guy who strikes it extremely well and you are a great golfer, they are the best balls out there, they are. But for the rest of us, I would say 85-90% of the market, we just don't strike it well enough for that to be the case. If you're an 80-mile-an-hour swinger, I will never recommend an X model golf ball to you because I just don't think you're going to pure it every time, and I don't think you're going to get those results. Now, number 9, he mentioned something really important here, and this is commit, commit, commit. I agree with this 100%. So, when you're experimenting, trying to find the right golf ball for you, which is something everybody should do. You should be always, trying different models, trying sleeves, finding them when you're on the course. Really pay attention to what they're doing. Are they going further, or do you just think they're going further? How do they feel? How are they reacting around the green? How do they come off the putter face? All kinds of different stuff you want to see. But once you have found a really good one, you want to commit to it 110%, because then you're going to be able to know how it chips around the green, how much rollout it truly has, how much forgiveness it packs, where your miss is, all kinds of stuff. I mean, there's a million things that a golf ball is going to do for you once you know how it reacts and how it jumps off your clubs you have. The reason I bring this up is because I have so many people who are like, I just play whatever I can find. I find an old 1987 Wilson. Stop. You got to stop that. You just do, because you don't know where that golf ball's been. You don't know if it's waterlogged. You don't know if it's, and there's also a used thing there we could get into, but that's a rant for a different day. But no, you need to be trying golf balls. Try them in sleeves. Try them, different ways you can get them is fine. But when you find one you really, really like, stick with it and be consistent. Just playing any type of golf ball, it's a lot harder than you think. If you start hole 1 and you tee off with a really firm X golf ball from 2004, and then, I hit my second shot into the woods, so okay, now I take, this is a Callaway Super Soft, so now you're playing with a really soft golf ball. That stuff is going to affect your numbers, your swing, and I don't want to hear nothing about, well, I'm not good enough of a golfer. Unless you're a 30-plus handicap, you're good enough to notice the difference between a soft golf ball and a really firm golf ball, period. I mean, unless you're just out there blind and deaf and just whacking it and just having a good old time because you're blackout drunk, that's different. But no, for the most part, consistency is key. All right, number 8. This is, this is just kind of a satisfaction thing, but this is the Kirkland really isn't as great as a lot of you think it is. And, I tested 2 different Kirkland models, didn't have great results with either of them, got bashed and hated on the internet for it, which it is what it is. And then I came out with my top 100 list. It was in the 90s, I think, the V3. Did not care for it at all. A lot of people don't care for it, but there were people just pounding the table. You don't know what you're talking about. The Kirkland is so good. It's so cheap. What are we supposed to do? Yada, yada, yada. Well, here's robotic data that it's terrible. And you know what? The robotic data, to be fair, it doesn't say it's terrible, but it says it's very mediocre. It's average in everything. In fact, if you look at it, the final ranking for this year's testing was it ranked 16th in ball speed, 12th in backspin, 17th in distance, and 15 total average, which was right in the middle, really mediocre. And the thing is that, I understand there's people that make the argument, well, but it's so cheap. I mean, I understand it's cheap, but it's also one of the worst golf balls tested by both us and them. So, I mean, what do you want in here? I mean, go get a 2-piece that was tested really well by us and them, and you're going to be paying the same price but getting better performance. It makes sense. Number 7. Now this one, this one's just pure cut and simple. I love to see this, and that's that Wilson just makes incredible golf balls. So in 2023, their Wilson Triad, when this test was done, this robotic test that today's golfer did, the Triad tore it up. Amazing results, and so did the Wilson staff model. Both were amazing. Now this year they didn't retest the Triad because they'd done it the previous year, but the new Wilson model came out. They tested it. Again, top 3 in almost everything. You can go on there and look at the data. It's incredible. I just mentioned Wilson as number 1 in my underrated golf ball list because as a whole company, I thought they were underrated. And there's still so many people out there that I tell them, I'm like, hey, you should try the Wilson staff. And they look at me sideways. Well, I was thinking like TP5 or, Pro V1. Yeah, Wilson still exists, and they're making phenomenal golf balls, and now we have enough data to where both the human element as well as the robotic element prove otherwise, that Wilson's at the top of their game, and that's pretty incredible. And this is kind of a piggyback off this, but number 6 is I just want to touch on the Pro V1 again. So when I made my most overrated golf ball list, the Pro V1 did make it on that list at number 2. And the reason it made it at number 2, again, I will say this, you'll still hate on me, but still, it's not a bad golf ball. It's actually really good. but everyone thinks it's number one and they think it's the second coming of Jesus, and it's not. And the reason I believe it's not is for a couple reasons. One, I've tested it multiple times, and it's nowhere near for the average swinger what it should be. But also now we have robotic testing that also prove it's very, very middle of the pack. I mean, based on the data from, now of course I'm not talking about the X did score a little higher, not by much, but a little higher. But the Pro V1, when it came to the robotic test from today's golfer, it ranked 14th in ball speed for 85-mile-an-hour driver, 17th in ball speed for 100-mile-an-hour driver, 17th in ball speed for 115-mile-an-hour driver, 7-iron ball speed was 21st, backspin on the wedges, it ranked 15th. It was second in accuracy, which is really, really good, but are you telling me these are best in numbers golf? I mean, all those people that went on there and trashed the heck out of me and said, you don't know what you're talking about, Titleist is the number one ball in golf, every pro can't be wrong, blah, blah, it's not about the money. You think these numbers are number one with a robot? You think they're number one? I mean, they're not even close to number one. They're not even top 10. They're not top 5, they're not top 10. Some of them aren't even top 15. Like, the reality is, the Pro V1 for a long time has been comfortable. And they've been comfortable in what they're doing. You know, oh yeah, everyone loves our golf ball. And they got to a point where they knew they weren't as good as they used to. They didn't have that glorious patent that now, you know, everyone's caught up, the competition's caught up. And they just said, you know what, maybe we should just pay every player a bunch of money to play our ball. And that's what they do. They pay all these guys a ton of money to play their balls. And that's why they're still the number one ball in golf. And look, I'm not hating. It's a great golf ball. There's a lot of people that still really love to use it. Scotty Scheffler's using the X model, or maybe it's the regular, I can't remember, but he's using one of them and putting on one of the best golf seasons I've ever seen in my life. I mean, especially since Tiger. I mean, just incredible. But what I'm trying to say is that everybody gets this notion of it's amazing. Look at the numbers. Now, number 5. Now, this one I'm really excited about, and that's that the Vice lineup is the real deal. So when I tested the Vice golf balls a couple months ago with the new launch monitor, Vice just came out with this brand new 2024 lineup. To be completely honest with you, I was a little surprised at the numbers myself. They were so amazing. I mean, incredible distance, incredible spin, incredible forgiveness, incredible value. And I was just like, I didn't know. A lot of us didn't know what to do because it was just really insane how great the numbers were. I had people telling me I was being paid by Vice and, oh, it sounds bought. And, you know, I had even longtime subscribers who really trust me emailing me going, Nick, you know, I love you, but are you sure? It sounds bought. I get it. It does. But now we have a robotic test that backs all that up as well. The Vice lineup did amazing in this testing, especially, you know, the 4 big models that they have, the Tour, the Pro Air, the Pro, and the Pro Plus. The Pro won the number 1 golf ball overall. The Pro Plus got the number 3 spot overall. The Pro Air is 7th, and the Tour is 10. That means out of all the golf balls they tested, all 4 of those are in the top 10. 2 of them are in the top 3. And so, you know, the testing from today's golfer essentially said that the accuracy was really great. A lot of them had amazing backspin. Distance-wise, they're all in the top 5 pretty much across the board. Again, you can go look at that. But no, the test confirmed what I had thought. You're getting one of the best golf balls on the market for a really, really great price. So I'm glad to see that was confirmed. Number 4 is that, unfortunately, the Chrome Soft is a dumpster fire. You know, the Chrome Soft, when I did my top 100 golf ball list last year, it was actually in the top 10. It was number 10. And for being a golf ball that costs so much, that was really a big deal because a lot of people were like, well, the value score is so low, like how did it get in your top 10? Well, that's because the numbers were incredible. Well, they made some changes this year, of course. They tweaked it a little bit, and now it's awful, and I can't stand it. It just, they made it firmer, it's less forgiving. I don't know what they were thinking, but they have ruined that golf ball. And it's not just me that says that. A lot of my followers are really disappointed and have reached out and said, you know, I used to love this golf ball, and now I got to go buy them used because I only love the previous models. And I was disappointed in that, but after looking at this testing, check out some of the rankings from the Chrome Soft here. It ranked 14th in ball speed, 21st in backspin, and in distance. So, I mean, you're talking about a golf ball that, you know, I considered to be one of the best of the best. And, I mean, even on robot testing, it's one of the worst. Number 3 is that the PXG Extreme is worth it for die-hard fans. So, this is just a quick one, but it was highest in backspin with the wedge, and it was highest in spin with the 7-iron, and it was in top distances across the board. It was always in the top 5, no matter what swing speed, it was always in the top 5. The reason I bring this up is I do think it's an underrated golf ball. I'm not a fanboy by any means, and I'm not a PXG guy, but I meet so many people through my work who come and, I take their bag off, and I'm like, oh, all PXG bag, PXG clubs, putters, drivers. I'm like, awesome. And I'm like, you use the golf ball too? And they're like, no, I'm afraid. I love the Pro V1 so much. I'm afraid to change. I'm serious. I get that all the time. And again, that's why it's overrated. But my point is that no, this is a legit golf ball. I mean, it's a legit golf ball. When I tested it with the human element, they've now tested it robotically, and it's still awesome. If you're a PXG guy, play the PXG ball. It's amazing. It's really great, especially, if you're a diehard fan like that, and you should be, because PXG does a lot for military, and they have great service and all kinds of stuff. So if you want to be a PXG fanboy, I wouldn't blame you at all. But use their golf ball too. Number 2 is if you love driver distance, there's one ball for you, and that is the Max Fly X. So a lot of you have been telling me that you're just really hyped about the X model. Even when I was reviewing them about a month ago, there were so many people who were like, test the X model, test the X model. And I'm like, why? That's for the faster swingers. Well, now I know why, because it's like first in distance and everything. Now, I will say that it is still firmer. It's not going to be as forgiving on mishits. I actually had better luck with the S model. But as far as your driver distances, if you're playing on really long courses and you got to have a little few extra yards in your driver bag, it's hard to argue with the ball speed that the X gets. It's by far the fastest golf ball on the market. By both sides. And this one right here might be the most important takeaway I got. There is a huge shift. In fact, number 1, we're just going to call the shift. And essentially what I mean by that is there is a huge shift in the golf ball market. I think that these tour line golf balls are starting to feel the pressure. I think there's a lot of direct-to-consumer models coming out. I think they're starting to lose a lot of market share. I think they're starting to get nervous. They're trying all kinds of new stuff to cut costs, proprietary blends, firming the golf balls up. But the reason I call this out, and I think it's so important, is when we look at the big companies, Callaway, the Chrome Soft's a disaster. The Chrome Tour's not bad. They did a decent job, but not top 5. I mean, definitely kind of in the lower middle. Titleist Pro V1, I just went over a few minutes ago all the Pro V1 numbers. It's just kind of middle of the pack now. TaylorMade TP5, although it did do really good as far as their value score, the numbers, some are good and some are mediocre, and it just kind of averages out to be middle of the pack. Srixon, don't even get me started on Srixon this year. Their Z-Star lineup they changed. I just did a review. I was so frustrated. They've completely fallen off. Their balls used to be great for the average Joe. Now they're not. Now they're exclusively tour fast swingers. And again, if you look at the robotic testing, middle of the pack. However, companies like MaxFly, PXG, Wilson, Vice Golf, Seed, Snell Golf, all of these continue to rise. These companies continue to increase ball speed and find different ways, and what's happening is they're tailoring their golf balls for the average market. And what I think these other companies don't realize is the average market is 90% of it. It really is. 10% of golfers in the world are probably pros or scratch or whatever. The rest of us are just guys having fun or trying to learn the game or trying to get better. And that's what these direct-to-consumer companies are making their balls toward. And now you're seeing these results where, 5 years ago you look at these results and it's probably Titleist, TaylorMade number 2 and, Callaway 3, and you probably got all this. And now you're looking at this list going number 1 Vice. Number 2, Seed. Number 3, Snell. You're like, who are all these companies? If you're not in tune with the direct-to-consumer golf ball market, you probably have no idea who these companies are. And that's where this shift is happening, and it's happening fast. I've tested golf balls for 4 years now, and I can tell you that I started noticing it when it first happened. I got on here on this channel, and I pounded the table for everyone watching and said, listen, direct-to-consumer golf balls are the main focus of this channel. They're underrated. You can get more distance with them. They pack them full of forgiveness. They're cheaper, all kinds of stuff. And we've built this community that now realizes 4 years later, holy cow, yes, you can. I mean, one of the most played golf balls on this channel is the Wilson Zip. It's $1 a golf ball. And there's like 100 people on here who, if you said it was a bad golf ball, would probably fight you in the comments because they love it. There's a huge shift in this golf ball market for sure. And so what my advice, honestly, throughout all of it would be, Take what you know about golf balls and start fresh. Come in and say, okay, you know what? I knew, maybe you're an older guy and you're like, when I was growing up, Pro V1 was it. It was the one. It was the pinnacle. Okay, it's not anymore. We know it's not. We have data. It's not number one anymore. What is number one? And now we have a legit cage match of these golf balls, good old capitalism at its finest, duking it out, all these different golf balls, and now we have options. We have options as consumers, and that's awesome. So that would be my advice. Forget what you know, embrace this. Definitely check out Today's Golfer. I love what they did with this. Bravo to them. I really appreciate it. And thank to them specifically. I even left a comment on theirs. I don't leave comment as Golf Ball Addict, but I left a comment on there to say, hey, thanks. I appreciate you guys doing this. Also, if you want to continue your golf ball knowledge and journey and learn, hit me a subscribe, and trust me, you're going to like this, what we do around here. We've created a great community. So, guys, as always, keep watching, keep saving, keep learning. Until next time, thank you so much.